Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the morning briefing here, brought to you by Friedman Adventures. It is so great to be back with you all again. July the 2nd, we're moving up on America's birthday. Happy birthday, America. It's a great time here in the United States, and I hope you're going to be spending it with family and friends. The light switch is definitely on right now. There are so many good bites and so much to talk to you about this morning. I can't wait to get into it all. Really wonderful stuff. We do, however, have this breeze, this wind that is in the forecast. It's marginal. I believe that we're going to be able to get through all of this and continue catching fish, but we'll go into that in greater depth in just a moment. All right, our July 5th trip is a go out of 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro, California, on board the Pride. If you haven't listened to that podcast we did with Sean Roberts, you got to listen to it now. You'll have a PhD in white sea bass fishing after you listen to that. So give that a listen, and I'll go into a little bit greater detail about what we're planning to do. However, do want to make it known to everybody, we have a special now 6 p.m. departure. We are leaving super early, 6 p.m. Tuesday night, and there are 2 spots available on that trip. If you'd like to grab them, send me a text. I'll fill you in on the game plan, let you know what we're thinking, and then you can make a decision. 657-227-6459. Just shoot me a text, and I'll get you up to date. Jeff Markland from the Thunderbird graces the cover, and if you're wondering why it says ouch next to him, well, that was a big fork that they caught on board the Thunderbird, and Jeff stuck his hand in the gill of that fish for a photo, and subsequently got the treble hook through his fingernail. So yeah, ouch, ouch. And maybe you can see the pained expression on his face. All right, let's get into it. First of all, I'll start with a guy by the name of Vern Vallis, and also another guy who was on the New Loan with him, Cheechin Lowe, who said hello to me this morning. I deeply appreciate that. So Vern attended our casting seminar. Remember when we were in the park, over 100 people showed up, and all kinds of great instructors were there. I hesitate to name them because I'll leave somebody out, and I don't want to do that. But the 540 Slingers Club, all those guys were there. Sam De La Torre from Island Fishing Tackle in Carson, California, his great staff. Taddy Lures, Gary Kwan was there, and so many others. Captain Eddie Leland, my dear friend, was out there giving some instruction. So Vern was on the New Loan, and he had a fabulous trip. Really great trip. San Diego, the bite is on right now, okay? We'll talk about Ensenada and everything else, but right now, the bite is on in several different venues, and I'm so happy that Vern and Cheechin, for that matter, had such a great trip. Vern took the time to write this long note to me, thanking me for that seminar we put on down at the park, and I have to thank all those people I mentioned, and anybody I might be leaving out, I apologize to you. But once again, it was a great day. And Vern on the New Loan said that his casting improved so much, they rolled up on their first kelp of the day. He placed a Taddy 45 about 10 feet from the kelp, took a couple of winds, hooked up, put the first yellowtail on the boat, and he was stoked. Now, what goes on from there tells you a little bit more about the San Diego bite. He ended up himself with 5 yellowtail. He limited out on bluefin tuna also, because then they went to Tanner Bank, where they found some absolutely wonderful wide open fishing on the bluefin tuna. And that is what's going on out of San Diego right now. We've got that bluefin chewing really, really well. Those heavier jigs. Vern was fishing a 500-gram rip roller. So a really, really heavy jig. 300 grams at least, it seems like, because there is wind and current out there, but it's been really good, and was again last night. 20 to 40 to 60-pound fish. Really great fishing. The light switch back on, and that is fantastic news, not only for the fleet, but for each and every one of you who have an opportunity to get out there and take advantage of some truly great tuna fishing. Vern, thanks for that note. Cheechin Lowe, thanks for your note this morning. Really appreciate it, and hope you guys have a great 4th of July. So out of Ensenada, those guys, the Pongeros, just going to drop back there. They're still searching around. Every once in a while, they get a jig strike on those Mad Max, trolling those around for the bluefin tuna. Things have been slower offshore for those guys, but it's vastly improving, because in addition to that bluefin that's biting so well right now, we still have more and more tropical stuff flushing up the Baja coast. yellowfin tuna, dorado, more yellows on kelps, and that is going to play a significant part in our future down there, and probably up here in the LA Orange County area also. If the warm water moves up here, those fish will follow it. As long as there's bait, they'll hang out for a while. So we're getting the best of both worlds and still have that triangle of cool albacore water 75 miles from Ensenada and San Diego. This is time when it's going to happen, if it's going to happen. And with that wind and that kind of snotty weather, you know, that's perfect albie weather. So we'll keep our fingers crossed on that also. So once again, be prepared if you're going down south for kelp patty type fishing. So 25 to 30 pound fluorocarbon leaders are best. We like Opsin, www.opsinusa.com. Put in FA at checkout, Friedman Adventures. You'll get a note from Greg as well as a special gift. Definitely want to do that. Take your time and choose a really good hot bait. All of that will make a huge difference. Pacifica limits a yellowtail, limits a bluefin tuna. Most of their bluefin in the 20 to 40 pound class. Their yellows on kelps, that grade we were talking about. There's some big ones in there. A lot of that 5 to 10 pound class fish for the most part, but a ripper there and several other boats in on it. So Ensenada picking away, but they're getting that warm water influence, and hopefully we'll see more and more of that move up. And then San Diego on that bluefin, if they're headed out toward Tana, there's fish in a couple of other venues like the 43 also. So this has really come together. That light switch was off, and now all of a sudden it's on, and there are other areas that are biting right now also. All right, let's talk the islands right now. Down there at Todos Santos off Ensenada, we have more and more barracuda, some really good barracuda fishing there, and more yellowtails starting to show up. The islands are really becoming more productive, and a lot of pongueros are opting for that. If that shuts off on you or doesn't bite for any particular reason, there's some lings and some rockfish to take advantage of also. We do have some breezier conditions in the forecast everywhere pretty much, so we'll keep watching that for you very, very closely. Hopefully that is going to continue to progress. Coronado Islands, wow. I mean, that place is really starting to light up. It's really good yellowtail fishing for some guys, not everybody, okay? But it's progressing nicely and looking very good. And we have to turn to Andrew Nguyen, who watches the morning briefing every morning. Andrew, thank you so much. I wish you the best 4th of July ever, and I thank you for getting that intel into me. It helps me so very much. He was on board the San Diego yesterday. First of all, Andrew said, what a crew. What a great crew. He wanted to drive that home about the San Diego out of C4 Sport Fishing. And what great fishing. 73 nice big grade yellowtail. I mean, they were nice fish, a lot of 20+ pound fish on there, biting on the fly line and the surface iron. Can it get any better than that? Really great fishing. Fluorocarbon, a must. And then on the surface iron, those Tatty 45s working really, really well. Some of the favorite colors are mint, blue, and white. However, there are people who say colors are relevant. It's just the way the jig swims. I'll leave that one up to you. But great fishing on board the San Diego. As I said, not for everybody, but that place is really starting to come together. They also had a couple of lings and 20 sculpin, which tells me about where they were fishing, south of the islands probably. And that sounds really, really like a great day to me indeed. Now, some of those local guys, and I'm talking about those 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. boats, are also offshore fishing. I should make it known that there is still that influx of stuff. And the Liberty yesterday, 10 yellowfin tuna, 4 dorado, 3 bonita, and a halibut. What a wild score that is. Really, really interesting. Concentrating more on the islands as we move up, and I'll group like Clemente, Santa Barbara, and Nicholas all together. Unless you know the Thunderbird with Jeff with the big treble hook through his finger. 15 yellowtail, 60 calico bass, had some bonita also on that trip. Lost a lot of yellowtail on that trip. He's on a 2-day right now, so we'll see what he did. He was a little concerned about the wind and the weather, and more than likely, I would think, probably heading out to catch some bluefin tuna, but we'll see. That might be tonight when he focuses on that. And once again, that weather, we're watching it very, very closely. We have that 2-day trip departing Tuesday night, so we're keeping our eyes on it very closely. On board the Freedom, 15 yellowtail, a halibut, 30 bonita, rockfish, whitefish, and a bunch of sculpin too that showed up for Tino Valentine on that trip. A lot of sea lions, still a pain in the neck, no question about it. And with this wind in the forecast, we'll just have to see what happens. Tino says getting a bait way back there, trying to get a bite that way, but hooking a sardine, fishing fluorocarbon, and picking a good hot bait. You do all those things, you got a chance. One other thing, you don't get a bite in the first couple of minutes, change your bait. Tino is adamant about that. El Dorado 5, yellowtail, yesterday at Catalina Island. Guys had pretty good action. Now, a lot of fish had to go back. In fact, on the native sun, they were catching these darn 27 and a half inch barracuda. They got to be 28. I mean, just short. But they ended up with some legal fish and bonita and bass and, you know, the 3 Bs kind of a thing at Catalina. Same thing over there on the Pursuit. Pretty darn good fishing. Sport King had 70 barracuda, I think was their count, with Bruce on the Sport King, which is always a lot of fun to jump on board. So guys over at Catalina seeing more and more action. That's starting to pick up as we go along. I think that is only going to improve. What can you say about the epicenter of white sea bass fishing? The Channel Islands. Full speed up there right now. Incredible sea bass fishing. Wide open white sea bass. I don't know how to make this any more clear. It's as good as it gets. A lot of guys are keeping a lid on it. They want to keep people away from, not people like you, but some of the private boats and that kind of thing. But the word is at Mirage, 22 guys, 66 white sea bass. Does it get any better than that? Several other boats in on it. They're fishing a variety of different techniques. But I'll tell you, those Mag 12 lures have been killing it up there. We're seeing fish on dropper lube rigs with 10-ounce torpedoes, 12-ounce torpedo sinkers. Really as good as you could ever want a sea bass bite to be. And then sometimes you're fishing a sliding egg sinker, and that has also been working really, really well. So it all depends whether you're in the shallows, in the deep water. A lot of run and gun stuff. Guys are moving from sonar mark to sonar mark of sea bass. They're seeing sea bass on the surface. Great grade of fish in most cases. You get them from 12 to 40 pounds, and some of the best eating fish you will ever have. It is as good as you could possibly want it up in the Channel Islands. You're gonna have some wind, but I think they're gonna make it through this. It looks like they will. We'll continue to monitor that for you very, very closely. But this is epic white sea bass fishing. That light switch is on. I mean, you hear the Coronado Islands biting, Clementi's biting, you hear Nicholas, you hear all these other venues. It's really on. Those Bluefin back on the chew. Whatever it was that had that light switch down is off right now. We're gonna have to deal with a little wind, but man, it is well worth it, as this bite is absolutely incredible. Really great fishing going on along the coast, down there around Ensenada, Barracuda, San Diego, rock. You know, a lot of guys, let's just say that up and down the coast, depending upon the wind and the water temperature, some guys are focusing on the rockfish, but many of the guys, San Diego, up around Dana, picking away at the bass. A lot of shorts, but some legals, some hits on the barracuda. Up here in the San Pedro area, Long Beach area, a little bit tougher here recently, but it's really up and down. You get a shot of barracuda, then they disappear for a couple days. You catch some sand bass, they disappear. A lot of it contingent on getting anchovies, which now seems like it's the candy bait. You get that anchovy down there around Dana, or you get it here in the Pedro area, and those gar and those bass just love to chew it up. So that is really, really good. And then as we move you up, Marina del Rey, Redondo, those areas, few bass, few barracuda, rockfish for the most part. Same thing up in the Channel Islands, Cody, on the Island Spirit. We'll have some occasional really good local bass fishing, halibut, barracuda, and then other times he's having to focus on the rockfish depending on where the pendulum is on our conditions. Conditions so important to everything in this game. You have warm water, you have bait, you have fish that want to bite, and that's really what it's all about. So right now we're still in these windier situations, so our conditions go good and then they go poor. So we'll keep our eyes on it for you very, very closely. So on the Pride, we're leaving at 6 p.m. Once again, more than likely I'll put out the buffet at the landing around 4:30ish, and we can all get together, have some fun, talk about all the fish we're going to catch before we take off. We do have a couple of spots open. I talked to Captain Sean last night at great length, and we are going to make a final decision on the trip one day before. So on the 4th of July, we'll make a call on the weather. We're waiting to see what the weather does. But if the weather gives us a break, after listening to what Sean told me, and he said, I'm not going to take you out there for a miserable experience. I'm not going to take you out there if it's unsafe. But if we get that window, oh my God, his plan, it really sounds fantastic. I cannot wait. I hope we get out. We'll see what happens with this wind, and we'll continue to monitor it for you very, very closely. Once again, 4:30 the buffet, and then we'll jump on board the Pride and get out of there at 6 p.m. Early departure. Sounds pretty good to me. We'll watch it closely. You want more information, 657-227-6459. The surf, well, I'll be fishing the surf. In fact, here's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to go over to the Seal Beach Pier. I'm going to dig up some sandworms here. I'm going to go over to the Seal Beach Pier with my friend Bob Gifford, and like a couple of tourists, we're going to fish on the pier and see if we can't snag a spot fin croaker or a yellowfin croaker or something like that. Should be a lot of fun. I really, really, really can't wait to do it. So, a lot going on right now. You look at that San Diego bite, and it's game on. I'm so happy. There's more yellowfin. There's more dorado flushing up. Don't forget, July 22nd, we're on the Malahini with Bill Wilkerson. That's going to be a really fun trip. And with all that stuff flooding up, I'm looking forward to an offshore great trip, or the islands. We'll see where that all takes us. And then, as we take a look around, the islands are biting. The bluefin are back in the picture. Will there be albacore? Should know here in the next 2 weeks or so. And of course, that Channel Island bite, beyond insane. I don't know how to make it any more clear about how special fishing is right now, and that white sea bass bite and that bluefin tuna and all that stuff flushing up the Baja coast leaves me feeling optimistic. Have this wind, we'll watch that for you. We'll continue to keep you up to date. Check back a little later because I'm going to show off my giant spot fin croaker to you all. Take care. Wishing you a wonderful day. Looking forward to a great birthday for America. And I will see you back here on Friedman Adventures really, really soon.